Okay.
Hello, Eileen. Thank you so much for being here in my interview. I'm so happy to have you because you live in Dubai and it's really very special part of the world, special mentality. And of course, I would like to talk to you about what is the difference. And before we started recording, you told that Dubai is very connected with England, with UK. Can you repeat it, please, for our
Oh,
speaker?
sure. Of course. I actually moved here from London. I was living in London for a few years before moving on to Dubai in 2007, especially because the media industry was really shrinking at that time, particularly in publishing and whatnot. But was growing here because it's still, behind in that way, but very exciting because we're laying down foundations that we are building on today. So as I was explaining before, Dubai used to be a British colony. So there's a lot of familiarity here. Our plugs are the same, like, if you use any electronics. And, some of the laws and legislation, actually British expats are one of the biggest groups in the UAE, or at least in Dubai, especially. So yeah, it's very familiar. We're only like six or 7 hours of flight away. So a lot of people commute between London and Dubai. A lot of
Uh,
my clients, well.
can you tell me about your background? How did you decide to become matchmaker? What do you like? What did you study, learn, experience before you became a matchmaker?
Absolutely. Well, basically, I think when you are a matchmaker, you have to have a knack for it. You have to have intuition and you have to like people and you have to love the love story and the process and everything in between, not just for yourself, but for others as well. And that's something I've been doing all of my life. And my friends and family, they were like, yeah, that totally makes sense. So combine that with my career as a marketing consultant and working in various industries, particularly in startup, as a serial entrepreneur as well myself, and as a beauty expert, because I actually got my diploma, my IMA, International Makeup Artistry diploma out of London. And I was working and teaching and training and running fashion shows and things like that at the Victoria and Albert V&A. Sometimes we have fashion shows over there. It was really exciting being on the expert stage. So I really love like teaching people and the transfer of power or transfer of knowledge, power as well. So that kind of plays a lot into my work in terms of helping people with their personal branding, photo shoots, image consulting, thought leadership, strategic partnerships. All of that kind of is very much a part of what I do as a matchmaker. And you're a matchmaker as well. So you would understand that when somebody hires our services, they basically get a dedicated marketing, PR, recruitment, image consultant, coach, date concierge, and matchmaker all in one.
Agree. Even many people
Cheerleader.
have absolutely wrong idea about our work. It's most of the times I think you experience it yourself. Something like, just give me a number,
Oh
and
yeah.
I
Line
know
them up. Line them up.
I know what to do. No, you don't. No, you don't have to teach me what to do right or what should I change. Just give me a number. I know how to communicate. No, you're not.
You address that. Because everybody has their own way of addressing that. How do you address that? Because yes, it's very common.
Yeah.
That complaint.
No, I say, so I can give you the number if you want to, but first I have to ask her if she agrees to exchange contact information, and if any problems appear, just I should be the first you ask, not arguing with her or with him. So I should be the first contact person if you don't understand anything. So before you start being involved in any conflict situation with your date partner, discuss with me first.
Okay.
Yeah.
Do you do that for both of them when you set them up on a
Yes.
date? Yeah.
Yes, because most of the time they are used to communicate like on Tinder, on other dating platforms, not valuing these contacts, and they start, like all these little misunderstandings they could really easy solve. They start arguing, and in the end, very perspective couple ends with nothing. So that's why I say, I first talk to me first. Talk to me.
I just had somebody last night say to me, with all due respect, I'm really good at dating.
It's
Okay. But that's dating. That's not long-term relationship, which is,
my next question would be, if you are so good in dating, why are you calling me?
yeah, I mean, obviously there's a
Yes.
disconnect there, but our role is not to tear anybody down.
Yeah.
We just have to work very delicately with people's egos and whatever that is, because people are very different stages of their journey, their love journey. Some people have been so hurt in the past. Some people want to give up and they're just, don't hurt me kind of thing. Some people are like raring to go, but it's very much about their ego and where they are. I can't work with everybody because, if you can't be open, you can't cheat on your matchmaker, meaning that you can't fake it with us because our goal is aligned with your happiness. So if you're not being truthful with us and you don't want to change, then how can we help you?
And I think a very important part of our job, we have to like each other.
Absolutely. And also gain that trust. Trust is
Yeah, but
critical.
trust is often connected with feeling some sympathy. So this feeling, I like you. I made this mistake because I've been in this profession for 24 years. I made this mistake. I thought, oh, he is rich. I'll take him even if I don't like him. It's never worked well. It was always disaster. It was always problems, arguing. It's so one of my like basement ideas. I take only people I like.
Yeah, I think that's fair. And also that aligns with your values to a certain extent. I
Yes.
mean, that I think is really important. Like if like a lot of guys that are a lot older, let's say they're 60s and 70s, they want to date somebody under 30 years old. And it's like, to me, that's a red flag because I know that you feel that all girls are gold diggers, but this is exactly what you're cultivating because you're not offering the same in return. Even though you can pick up a girl, that doesn't mean it's going to last a relationship. And if you want that, there are other people that you can go to. I don't want to waste my time. That's all we have is time, actually.
Yeah.
I know you want to hear a little bit more about specific to Dubai and the location here, because I know you understand the matchmaking industry quite well, and we
Yeah.
can commiserate about it all, for ages. And I love that as well. But just specific to my market, and maybe I should talk about my target audience
Yes.
and why I decided to open this up.
Mm-hmm.
So I've been wanting to open this service, have it available here for over a decade. I've been here 16 years
Mm-hmm.
and working in different capacities, different industries, and you start to see the same things happening over and over again. And what I often say is that Dubai has been really terrific about marketing itself and attracting career talents, businesses to really build foundations here and stay here for the long term, including families. And if you talk to HR and recruiters, one of the biggest reasons or the main reasons why people leave here is because they can't find a partner. And so they leave.
It's
And
not a
that's
job,
because
not because of.
there's no connection. There's no way to meet apart from the apps. It's really hard to have a work-life balance. So you have the work and you have this
Mhm.
terrific opportunities, and it's going exponentially. I mean, Dubai is super innovative. It's it's attracting so much talent for all of its like vision of the
Mhm.
future, and that's very, very exciting.
Yeah.
But there is no way for you to. It's not that there's no way. It's very difficult the older that you get and the more that you're into your career to meet somebody else, because you're less likely to go to club and bars and things like that, because you're busy. And there apps, if you're an important person that would like to guard your privacy, you don't want your employees, for example, or maybe your family members or your community to see you online
Mhm.
and in the very personal sense, you don't
Yeah.
have any other option. So that's one of the reasons why I felt like this is so needed here, especially for, you know, expat professionals over 30 years old, right? I mean, you could be younger. It depends on what your goals are, but you have to invest in yourself and you have to create a strategy. And I'm here to do that, whether it be through coaching, obviously, to help you be a better dater or get to the point where if I did make a match with you or introduction, that you would know what to do with it and not kind of have the same mistakes. It's a journey after all. The other
Absolutely.
thing, the other thing that I find a lot here is it's less and less transient, but the mentality is still transient, right? For example, I didn't expect to be here for 16 years, nor have my child here, who's now 10. So, I mean, your life has to be flexible, and you accept those challenges. Dubai has constantly reinvented itself, and that has been very attractive to keep people like me here. As my life has changed and my needs from a city have changed, so has the skyline, so has the opportunities. So that's one thing. And the last thing I want to say is that this region attracts a lot of people who come from either the region, from the GCC, from the subcontinent, things like that. But they live in this world of this gap between traditional culture and having more of a global view and a global education, a westernized education specifically. And it's very hard for them to meet somebody that treasures their values and their traditions, but at the same time is open to travel and can hang in the circles that they hang in for, travel and just the conversations that they have. So they don't want to go back to their country and pick a partner from the village. It's not going to fit into their life over here. So that's a gap that many, many expats here want to fulfill. And I hear it over and over again. And that's also very exciting. I'm multicultural. I'm half Korean and half American, raised in New York, and spent a lot of time in Korea and all over the world, actually. This is my 9th city and 4th country. So like I said, London, Paris, Seoul, throughout the US, Boston, Los Angeles, Miami, Tucson, New York, obviously. So there's a lot of people like me here who come from multicultural or either a mixed culture, have lived in different places for one reason or another, educated in multiple places as well, and then find themselves here. And we all band together because that's kind of like your Dubai story or your story, but fits very nicely into Dubai.
Your clients, are they mostly this from expat community or they are native Dubai people?
Well, if they're native, they're not an expat.
Sorry?
If they're native, if they're Emirati, they're not an expat.
Yes, it's what I mean. So your clients are mostly expats or people
Yes.
who are originally from Dubai? Who are your clients?
Expat professionals.
Expat professionals. Because it's really interesting. I had experience a couple of months ago. So a local agency for local people wanted to organize date for one girl. And their office was somewhere, on the edge of Dubai, really not in this fancy shopping areas, but somewhere outside. And the girl looked at them.
One of the other Emirates, because we have 7 Emirates, which are states. And then
I don't know what part of the city was it, but it was really not in the center, but it was somewhere on the edge. And girl looked on the website and said, no, I'll never go there because it can be dangerous for women. And if I as woman go there by taxi or without, and something happened with me, the police will say it's your own fault. Something like you. Yeah, it's really interesting because
I think you could say that in any city.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, if you send your clients for the first date, so you organize this first date, they go for the first date, what's a recommendation you give to them?
It really is depending on the personality of the couple. And, like if they're more experience oriented, or if they prefer fine food, or if they want a day date. It really depends on their kind of lifestyle and their preferences. I like to plan dates around an activity. We have a lot of activity. We are spoiled for choice over here in Dubai. And when it comes to learning something, I prefer learning something like a cooking class, or some sort of, it could be making coffee, and learning to make those little designs and stuff like that. Just something that's very different. Sushi can be making sushi, but that at least they come away from that experience having learned something. And when you're learning something together, you learn about each other. So for me, that's very important. And it's a very positive experience, usually, hopefully.
For most of them, I hope. I didn't ask, but I hope.
I wouldn't do paintball right away because, you don't want them to get too aggressive with each other.
No, I totally agree with you because normal classical dates, you just meet for coffee, and most people, they have no idea what should they talk about, because most people or many people right now after COVID and after all this Tinder experience, they are not about talking, they're more about writing. And finally go to date and find something interesting to discuss, for many people is challenge.
Yeah, well, I mean, one of the I guess we can talk tips, what we give our
Yes.
clients or when we set people up on dates. One of the things that I like to say to my clients is when you go out on dates, rather than describing yourself, tell them a story that describes your values. And I think that's also entertaining. And you can embellish, and you can ask questions, but start that conversation that way because, when I talk to them and I interview them, I say, give me an example of
Okay. Like
why. A
training.
lot of times you can't explain what you want in somebody. Okay, so tell me what you would like to do, how you would like to experience life with somebody. And okay, what was a positive thing from a past date that you've been on? And what was attractive about that person? And then you start drawing out the stories and really painting a world of what it would be like to be with me and how I see the world.
I see this mistake very often on different business networkings, because people very often tell about what they can do, but they forget to understand what people really need.
Well, because they take it as an interview, which it is, but it's not the same kind of interview.
Yes, because so something like to get attraction and to start conversation, you have to tell some like fun facts or really story. But I remember my story was I tried to learn surfing.
Oh, wow, great.
It was nearly 10 years ago. I failed because I was so scared from the waves. For me, it was always turn it off, turn it off. I have to try, turn the waves off, ocean, stop. And I always still, yes, I really had this,
Remote control.
yes, remote control in my head. Just stop it. I have to be on the board and not under it. Just give me time, give me a second. And I told this story, and I said, so I didn't learn it, but I can take good photos with board. And yes, it is always this same reaction. And I teach my clients to find out some really funny stories about their journeys, because in the moment people listen to you and start laughing, they are already on your side.
Right, right. Not only that, but you're being vulnerable. And you're saying, that means that I put trust in you. And when you give that trust, it starts to come back as well. And if it doesn't, well, then you've learned on the date that person is very closed off and maybe they're not ready for dating.
Yes. When people come to you first, when you have your first interview or first phone call or first coaching session, what are the most challenge? What is the main problem you notice?
I think it's that they want to order a car with all its features. And then like, here's my menu. Go find this. Well, if I find something like it and it still runs and I think it's interesting that as you work with a client, how parameters change, right? Either because of you or in spite of you. So, when somebody says they want somebody that can be adventurous with them, that has a good heart, that will be a good parent because they want to have children, that, is open-minded and creative, and they start off with all these soft skills. And then you introduce them to somebody that I think for all these reasons would fit into your career, could travel with you because they're an art consultant and you are a high-powered whatever. And, they see the world and they're speak multiple language and highly educated and beautiful. Oh, but then some small thing, comes up, height or something stupid. It's not stupid because I mean, that's judgmental, but if you just push your parameters a little bit more and go out on that date, because I find that what we create is basically a CV. And then we try to sell it. And then we're saying, just like you would receive 1,000 CVs when you put a job offer out there with this fantastic, offer. you'll receive a lot of CVs that similar look the same, but there's no personality behind it. Go and meet them. You have to meet them before you hire them, right? This is even more about that because you have to dig even further. You're not just meeting them. You're saying, show me your values, let's get to know one another. The second thing is time. There's nothing substitutes for time. When they are like, nope, so quickly, they're falling back into a bad habit and they are not prepared to have a serious relationship. If they do that too often, I have to say that you're not serious. We can work on that or put a hold on your membership and come back to me when you're serious, because this is the human heart we're talking about. We're not talking about made to order brides. Even if you did say mail to order brides, that wouldn't work like that either. Personality doesn't jump into a body that, an attraction changes. And then also, thinking about a guy to a girl, if they want like a young person and they want to have a family, the reality is that women in their 40s is the fastest growing segment of women, having children. And the reason for that is because a lot of women, if they have an education and they want to have a career and they want to kind of see the world, they don't start settling down until late 30s, early 40s and start thinking about this. So I wouldn't write them off. And a lot of guys kind of write them off. And it's like, no, this is your target segment,
I have different group of clients, and some group of clients, men 55 and older, sometimes 60. The eldest was 65, without children, and finally realized I need somebody to inherit my soul, my blood, my genes, whatever. And automatically they start searching for the girls 30, 35. And in this moment, we are in the huge age gap. And I always say, so the bigger is the age gap, the more complicated is to find the person who is equal, because you are in different generations. It's always all different. And then I get this argument, yes, but because of medical reasons, I have to search a young, but he waited until he's 55. And 40 years old woman who is genetically absolutely fine, healthy, ready to have children, because women are getting older later right now. No, it's not. I need somebody in their 30s, because in their 40s it's so difficult to have children. I constantly have this communication and all this
explanation. They don't know what they're talking about.
Yeah,
doesn't point to that. Society doesn't point to that. And then the other thing is that they are insisting on something that is, what are you offering besides money? And you want to have a fit person because you want them to be interested in their health, and you want to have babies right away, so their body's going to completely change anyway. Like,
and nobody knows how.
Right.
Yeah, if she's slim now before she became pregnant, there is no guarantee that her body will not change after getting a child. We never know. Okay, I had one time, I remember one guy, he said, I would like to have very skinny woman, but with big. I said, what? Very simple. You meet a slim woman, make you pregnant, then in the moment she feeds the child, you can enjoy whatever you want with your big breasts. He didn't like my idea, so he wanted to have it naturally. And I think sometimes it's the idea, like you said about, I would like to buy the car with all features. It's something like, I imagine in my head some dream person, and I want to fit reality in my dreams.
Right. But are you their dream person? We have to constantly make that very clear that, you're not their dream, you're not. I mean, even if you keep yourself fit and whatever, vivacious, I think that there must be some sort of idea in these people's heads, for women as well, that I have to date younger, because they think it's some sort of elixir, fountain of youth. And it's not. It's the heart that sings that is the fountain of youth.
No, I think it's something like wrong mirroring. They go to the mirror and see wrong person about themselves and think if they look young, if you younger or young, if you look fit, they deserve somebody even better and younger. And I always have this problem with age gap, so it's my probably favorite part, or not anti-favorite part of my job, because I always in this explanation that relationship with a girl who is much younger, it might work for a couple of years.
Yeah.
And then she will find somebody younger and will leave. So I always say, do you want a relationship for 2-3 years? No, I don't want to. Then next step is searching for somebody who is in their 40s, 50s, but looks younger, because women now, women now, they change, you know, so sometimes you look at women and you cannot estimate the age at all. You know, it's crazy. And with men, it's easier because you always can see the age most of the time.
Well, you know, it's about how they vibe together. If you have a young spirit, that's always going to shine, because people are going to change. You could be hit by a car and become an invalid or disabled, or anything could happen. You know, you could have a stroke, both of you at any age. So, you know, better to be better accompanied. Yeah. But I mean, that's worldwide. Again, that's not just specific to Dubai.
No, it's what else is specific to Dubai? Okay, so huge community for expats, a lot of languages, a lot of people with higher education. What is special about, you know? So no, the question is
what stereotypes, right? Stereotypes.
No, it's not a stereotype, but you know, so you're expat yourself and you have your experience 16 years living here. If your friend or your clients would like to move to this country, to this city, what would be your recommendation? Where to start and what to think about first?
You know, I've had that conversation every city that I've ever lived in. Because okay, you know, get in touch with Eileen because she knows where to go, blah, blah, blah. So it really depends on what you want from the city, because any city, you can go in for business, you can go in for pleasure, you can go in for clubbing, you can go in for like the arts, there's so many different ways to experience a city, especially one that's a cosmopolitan dynamic city. You know, it's not just one way of doing it, and there's multiple, and there's a lot to see and do, not just buildings, not just architecture, but I mean really get into the community. And Dubai is really great about that, because we have great weather for the most of the year. Our bad weather is the summer, so that's when it's super hot. So as the same in Europe, when it's freezing cold, you're not doing a whole lot outside. We're not doing a whole lot outside when it's hot, and it's just a different way of seeing things. But I would say a stereotype that I get quite a bit questioned about is prostitution.
Really?
You know, because Dubai attracts a lot of people who think that we are bling bling. They've seen, you know, Dubai Bling and whatever else documentary, and they think that everybody's super wealthy over here. Now, we do have a clean city. We do take care of the city. They do market itself as being, you know, the 7-star this, the Guinness Book that. These are just marketing. Not everybody here is wealthy. But since the war in Ukraine, or maybe because of, we have a lot of Russian speaking people. We've always had it because of the strategic location that we're in. But now we have people making investments here through Bitcoin or whatever, and laundering their money, or just having a place to put it because they have to get it out of the country somehow. And then we have the war, people just of all different, I would say, social strata, or, you know, income, coming here and taking whatever job that they can get because they want to escape the crisis over there. You know, they don't want to be in the midst of conflict. So it changes. It has a knock-on effect to, like, let's say the real estate market, let's say jobs. And, you know, we have a lot of people from Africa that come up here. We have all of like Asia and Southeast Asia, Pakistan, Bangladesh, Philippines. So we have we're spoiled for labor here, which means that, you know, according to market dynamics, you can pay next to nothing for people for labor. So obviously that has other effects, which means that people, you know, live together like 10 in a room or something. Of course, it's illegal. But not everybody lives in this high life that a lot of people imagine Dubai to be. And so that makes them desperate in different ways. And so there's a lot of, prostitution here, open prostitution in all the hotels and wherever you go, wherever the guys are, they're going to, kind of go to, because that's their profession. But that's not how everybody is. So a lot of guys that come here for business and they stay in the hotels, they're going to come across, solicitation, which of course is in every city, right? But I'd say it's a lot more blatant here. Do you know what I mean?
Because yes, I know. It's really interesting that you mention it, because we not always think about how political situation impacts the life in one specific country. Because in my job, pandemic. In this time of pandemic, the only one way for my couples to meet was Turkey or Dubai.
Yep.
So that's why, even compared to Turkey, Dubai was more expensive, but many people preferred to meet here, just because it was easier to get to Dubai than to Turkey. And so it's
visa situations as well.
Yes, yeah, I remember before pandemic, Dubai was something like in my head, or in the heads of many people, like place for luxury holidays, for something special. But just because of pandemic, where people had no choice where to meet and how to meet, Dubai lost a little bit of this, like you said, bling bling. It became more all day, and maybe so that's why people from poor countries moving there, and like you said, spoiled for labor. I didn't think about it. I remember somebody told me that even a normal office worker, they don't earn a lot. Okay, so this cleaner,
maybe €1,000 a month.
Yeah, it was
so imagine how we live here when it's a very expensive city.
Yeah,
transportation, food, we have to import everything. It's not cheap at all. Plus, you have to pay for your visa, your medical, you get no social services because we don't pay taxes.
I didn't know it. So it's one thing I knew. So there are no taxes. So that's why.
Well, it's changing. There is legislation. I don't know when it's coming through to have to tax your income, but it's going to be a nominal amount. It's a tax-free country, except for Americans, of course, and because we pay taxes anywhere in the world. But then also they've just introduced corporate tax February here. So that for company and things like that. Again, it's less than in Europe, but we don't get anything for it either,
So it means, if I understand you right, of my picture about Dubai, so there are really people on the top who are corporate clients or workers, really very successful, and immigrants from other countries who are not doing well.
They're doing well. For them, they feel like they're doing well.
For them, but compared to their high level, they are not. There is something like middle class?
I would say the other thing, that just to kind of wrap up the last point, safety is a huge attraction. So we have a lot of people from South Africa, for example, where it's super dangerous, or in Africa in general. And, they even Venezuela, when they had the problems in Venezuela, we had a lot of people that came over here to make a living because they're like, whatever it is, at least I'm safe. At least my family is safe.
In the last month, I get really a lot of leads, emails from African, Pakistani people from Dubai, and they want to use matchmaker services. And I know about how much they might earn, so it's absolutely not my niche, but I always feel so sad to reject them, because the main point of hiring a matchmaker is to pay for the services, and he cannot allow himself to pay my time. What can I do with you?
Well, that's why there are dating services. I mean, but we are matchmakers, so we're more of a premium boutique. Yeah. They, especially for the subcontinent, they have their own local matchmakers, right? Because they're understanding the tribal differences.
And the language. So I think it's very important, the language, because how I'm going to work with somebody from Pakistan living in Dubai, I don't speak, this language, how I'm going to explain to him what's going on if he will not understand him and I will not understand him as well. You know, it's because language, I think language or this being open to understand the language of other people, it's really main point for dating, not for dating only, but for communication with matchmaker.
Right.
Because I think you have a lot of clients who are not native English speakers, and you have to find the way to explain your values and your job to people who not for them English is not their first language.
But in Dubai, the main language is English by default because you have so many other people that from other countries that, you know, India, for example, they'll speak English. Pakistan as well. They're less likely to speak Arabic than to speak English. However, if you were in Saudi Arabia, you'd really have to speak Arabic.
Okay.
The language of business is usually English anyway. So
absolutely.
We have a lot of conventions here. The city has been built very much strategically, especially because they allow like visas and things like that from China or wherever, like Iraq, Syria. You can't go to the US very easily, you know, Nigeria, wherever. I don't know like all the specifics of it, but I know that it can be a challenge to have a conference and to invite these people from these countries that have top talent and they can't come into the country to attend your conference. So Dubai is very much set up for that. We have every single sports World Cup championships that you can name, from boating to tennis to golf, cricket, literally every single sport. In fact, the Pakistan national team of cricket, which you know is very important to them, is based in Dubai.
I didn't know it, but you know, so my son likes cricket.
The team, yeah. And then we have, you know, just it's really great because a lot of these people that are top of their game want to come to Dubai and give a seminar or play here or experience Dubai because they've created this this idea in their head, and it can be really fabulous like that. But for those of us that live here, there has to be a practical side to things, and that's what I come back to again, where I try to provide a service where your work-life balance can exist and that you do it in a safe way, that introductions are in a safe way via me because I'm the filter, you know, I have personalized service in that sense. Also in an intelligent way, a strategic way with the coaching and with other services that I have developed over the past, you know, almost 2 decades here, a huge network of vendors and of, you know, what do you need basically. And I do that also with like my marketing consultancy as well. You know, a lot of businesses want to come here and they don't know where to start or who to trust. And there's a lot of services offering the same thing. So how would you vet that? Well, I offer that filter for businesses, strategic partnerships again, and introductions on the personal side. So I feel like it's a trifecta.
You personally, do you prefer to work more with men or with women?
I prefer to do coaching with women and to do matchmaking with men. And the older the women are, the more picky that they are, and they don't listen to me in terms of matchmaking. So it's much more difficult for me to match them. So I have to charge them more if it's going to be that difficult. Yeah. So I prefer to work. I mean, all matchmakers prefer to work with men more than women because it's way harder to match women over 50 or you know.
Yes. I think it doesn't depend on the age. I think it's more about what is in the head. And the head. Yes, and yes, age, of course, is a part of these challenges we have to fight against. But still, it's more because I think men, you say it once, you say, you know, do like this because otherwise it will not work. Okay, do it like one time. It's most of the time it's enough. But for women, they have really to learn it on their own experience, and you can repeat 100 times, but until she really understands herself, it doesn't work like this. She will not change.
They shoot messenger.
Yeah. Yes, it's but you know, it's really, you know, what's really interesting, because I thought that this part of communication, men and women, it's more connected with mentality, but it's not. Because I work more with Russian-speaking women, you know, Russian, Ukrainians, Belarusian, and German-speaking men. And I really thought it's part of this German speaking mentality. You said once, and like soldiers, they listen and do. That's all. I forgot about this part. And with women, it's always discussion. But Ksenia, but it's this but I can't hear anymore. But it's really not connected to nationality, to mentality. It's gender problem.
Yeah, and it's ego.
You think so?
Oh, very much ego, because you can give advice. I mean, I'm also a makeup artist, as you know, so I can give like the beauty advice as well. And some people freak out. Some women really freak out when I say, well, then you can use this because I can see that there's bags under your eyes. And so you need to color correct with it, find a product that's peach colored. And, I can give them these tips and then just become very insecure.
Really? I would say thank you so much. I don't have to think about what should I put under my eyes. Thank you so much, Eileen, because it really saved so much of my time.
Yeah, but you are a coach. And you're on the other side as well, and you know how difficult it is. So if you ask for advice, you asking for, or me asking for advice as well, we come at it from a different angle because we know how challenging it is for somebody to give advice, and it's a gift,
Yeah.
And you can do with it what you want anyway.
Yeah, it's advice. I like it. So I gave my advice, but I don't care if you're following my advice or you're not. So
I'm not invested.
Yes. Yeah. And, the men, they really take it. I don't know, maybe it's a verbal thing but really take it serious. And especially if they paid for this information. But women, we women might think we know everything better. Yes.
Well, I mean, that's the thing that you can't, it's not something to argue with. All right. What people don't realize is we're not making the rules. We're responding to the market. We're responding to our expertise and to, having this conversation multiple levels all the time, and it's not just us. Like, fine, don't believe me, talk to Ksenia, like talk to any of these other matchmakers that I'm in touch with every single week. I'm part of the Global Love Network. I'm on weekly Zoom calls with matchmakers and date coaches from around the world. I've signed a code of ethics. There's not much more I can do for you. I'm not, it's not a machine. So you have to remember, like, this is up to you to take and make it your own. Any leadership course that you were to get that would make you a better person, a better salesperson, behavioral science, just understanding that and then modify your behavior to it. It's not rocket science, it's there, and it's every generation. And the only thing that we can say is that part of that communication and the connection that we facilitate, we use modern tools for,
Absolutely.
And you got to be where the conversation is. If people are online, have an online profile, and let's see what that looks like. How are you presenting yourself? How is it consistent? And, what have you decided? The date feedback is really, like, I think, our special sauce.
Even not many people ready to get this after date feedback, because it's always a fear I might do something wrong and I don't want to know about it.
Okay, well then we can continue conversation for the next couple of years and you pay me.
I have one client. He's probably one of my favorite in the last year, because he pays for every match. And out of his matches, or from all his matches he paid for, he never had any date. He never had any phone call. I know why. But before, so unless he doesn't ask, I'm not allowed to say anything. I said, you know what? I can provide you personal assistant for a month. She will really control what you're writing to women. And instead of paying for new contacts, you better reanimate the previous one, and we can rescue the previous one, and you will get your phone calls, you will get your dates. And this personal assistant costs less for a month, less than one contact. You know what he did? He paid for 2 more contacts.
Well, he doesn't want to change. He's not serious about
it. So it's, I always say, my cash up point is happy because I earn money. My matchmaker heart is bleeding. But yeah, because I I want to match him, but if he doesn't want to, what can I do?
Well, how does that work then? Because I just took on my first pay per match client. He was very insistent. We've been talking since October. And I was like, listen, I like him. We have great banter. You know, he's 35-year-old. He's from the region. He's very dynamic. He runs a family office. He's got a list of like 11 deal breakers. Has to speak Arabic, has to be Muslim, this kind of thing. Fine, that's not the biggest problem. Why do you only want from these countries, for example? Like he doesn't want North Africa, Arab, he wants only GCC. Okay, let's evaluate that. You've been dating Germans and Turkish and like English, like, and now you have this other thing. Why is that? Because I can introduce you to somebody who's Arabic background, heritage, speaks the language, Muslim, obviously, but was raised in like the US or something like that. Like, why is it, because it's all over the place how we integrate now. There's heritage is one thing. Respect for heritage is really what you want. So if we can get that in there, then why, you're not even that practicing, so like you can have these conversations. Anyway, I took him on as a pay as you go. And I'm working on the first match, right? And I have several candidates, but and I've talked to him about him, and it's like, okay, no, because of, from North Africa, no. And that wasn't in his profile before. That became like a thing, right? No, because she's too tall, because he's 5'7", she's 5'10", something like that. I'm like, she's keen to meet him. Like, even though she would prefer a taller guy, I think that they would match up in every other way, right? No, and I haven't even showed the picture yet. I'm going to show him their pictures next week when we talk. But how do I take it from there? Because I've never done pay per match before. What do you do? Like, how do you get to the next one if you don't get to the first one? So because he pays up front for the first match, right?
No, I have a little bit different system because I'm international, so that's why I cannot do this matchmaking without photos. My clients, they live in different countries, sometimes on different continents, so it means I have to show photos, and their photos of women, they are on our website, of most of our female clients on the website, so men can choose. And after I get something like, let's say, list, I say, you know what, from the things you told me, this is wrong. From the things, for this example, I have one client, he has 4 children. Mm-hmm. 2 of them adult, but 2 of them are still teenagers. And he constantly slides to choose women without children. And I say, you know what, even she's older than, let's say, 40, 45, and if she's not planning to have her own children, but to survive in your gang, you have to have experience with children. And someone who spent 40 years of your life alone with your cat and with your dog and having your teenagers every second weekend and all holidays, no way, it doesn't work like this. And so I really talk and repeat, and sometimes I say, do whatever you want to, but you will see the time, right? I'm the boss here. And sometimes do whatever you want, because my first answer is always, okay. Like you said, you said it with same intonation, okay. And from this, okay. But we discussed. I think with your clients, the problem is not nationality. I think he has a lot of knowledge how to date, but from a lot of when you have, I forgot who said it, something, the more I know, the more I understand that I don't know anything. I forgot who said it.
Yeah.
But he has a lot of knowledge. You gave him a lot of knowledge. He knows everything. But to start using it, this is challenge. What you have to do is, you don't pay nothing now. I sent you for free date. It's my gift for you. Just go and drink coffee. And after this, if you want to, I can guide you. I can come with you as your friend, as your assistant, whatever. I will help you. And after it, you will get my feedback. Something like, it's not the service. We just test. What can you do? And I will support you. I did it many times, something like, okay, so you don't pay for this contact, you didn't pay for this much, but believe me, I am right, I know what better, just do it.
Just go on the date.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm thinking that I would say go on the date, and if you want a second date, that will count as.
Yes. Oh, yeah. First date is for free, if I'm right, and I think I am.
But then he might be picking at it, just because, I think I can do better. I think I can do better.
It doesn't matter for the moment, because his fear is right now just to start doing something. And as soon he will, and he understands that, all your advice really works, he will, we say in Russian, he will eat from your palm.
Be eating out of your hand in English.
Yeah, eating out of your hand. We say from the palm, really like the food is on your palm, and he's eating it. Just give something, believe me, just go, and we'll see. And then, of course, get feedback from the girl, from his date partner, and give him some. She said, "You're so great." Even she didn't, a little bit flattering. Yes.
Well, I mean, he doesn't have any problem meeting girls. It's just the right girls, right?
So that's why you have. I had a conversation now with my Russian partner, and we had one client. My client went to her to Samara, and his expectation was only girls with German or English language. And as experiment for free, she sent him to the date with one girl who didn't speak any languages. You know what? He married her. Because language is a very important part of our human communication, but it's not always the best for love. And sometimes we, matchmaker, feel it will work better for him to go to this date. Just do it for free. If you don't earn any money, you will get some bonus from God or from other power thing in the world. It's worth it.
Well, that it's, and then we go on to the next, right? And then you pay for the.
Yeah, no. I think we matchmaker, we can speak for hours, because usually we understand each other very well. It depends on what country we work in, because the problem is the same, and the problem is how to find the language, how to find the words to explain these simple things to our clients.
It's endlessly fascinating, though. It's endlessly fascinating to be part of people's love stories.
Yes, and I always say I'm professional gossiper. I gossip 24 hours 7, and I enjoy it so much.
Well, I hope this has been enlightening to you, about Dubai a bit. I don't want to only speak about Dubai all the time, but I do understand that it's a unique market, and there's not really anybody here that's doing this. So
not really. Yes, not really. So thank you so much for your time. I will post your contact information under this video, so it means everybody who is interested in Dubai matchmaking can contact you, and I will connect you with my British partner and friend. She thinks about cooperation in Dubai. She works with me.
Absolutely. To me, why would I hold my database to myself if it can help somebody else find a love? That's very different outlook.
Absolutely. And working international, it's exactly the thing we learned during pandemic, or because of pandemic. Working international, it's much more interesting than staying local in one city. If you can help people worldwide, why not?
Well, I'm still cultivating my database locally, of course, but people are coming in and out of relationships all the time, and they're moving in and out of Dubai all the time. They're getting jobs in different places. So it's very dynamic and, endlessly fascinating. And I love it. I'm so glad that I've had a chance to reach out to my fellow matchmaker community and have this conversation with you as well. Because I feel like I've found my niche, and like my tribe.
Yeah, tribe. Yes. And so today I not complained. I say to my partner, you know what? So I have friends. I really have friends, but all my friends, they are my colleagues. So it means, because we can talk about our clients, about our challenges really all the time. So I have friends, but not friends because of my study or because of my previous life. My friends are my colleagues. Something is wrong with me.
No, something's right with you.
Yes. Okay, Eileen, thank you so much for this interview. It was so interesting. And, I hope one day I will fly to Dubai, we'll meet for coffee.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. And we have tons of things to do here.
Yes, you can, you should advertise Dubai for tourists, because you know what to tell people about.
I do. I mean, I by default have that all the time. People are constantly coming here, and friend or cousin or somebody that I know, but I don't get to see my own friends here locally that much because I have so many, guests. And it's always lovely because you never know what, they do for a living or what kind of person. And it's just really lovely to have. I stay here and people come through.
You like you're sitting on railway station and the train is passing by.
High five.
Okay, Eileen, thank you so much and have a nice day. Thank you. Bye.
Bye-bye.